This is a 2021 list. Neither of those games are confirmed, and one is highly unlikely.
Yeah,
Well,
we got it down. We got it down.
I don't
I
think we
told
did.
you. Harry Potter 1,
No.
Back 4 Blood 2, and 3 is the West game.
You're crazy.
The West game. Yeah, no, this is not how this number is going to go.
It's
It
coming out.
doesn't even make any sense. Final Fantasy? I can tell you about my Final Fantasy. Shit.
Oh my. That wrong video.
We're recording?
Yep, we're live. Go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this is a list that Horseman Gaming created that is our top 10 most anticipated games of 2021.
And to be clear, this is our list, not games that are going to be most popular in the industry or anything like that. These are all games we're personally looking forward to. Full disclaimer on our list, there's going to be no remasters or remakes. So games like System Shock Remastered, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Prince of Persia Sands of Time Remake, which we're all looking forward to, do not qualify for our list because no remakes or remasters.
Except for number 10 on our list, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
What did you want to talk about?
Well, technically Final Fantasy VII is a remake, but it's kind of like a new game.
If you played through Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, you'll know it is a remake in the sense that the entire universe is now being remade, not the original game story being remade. In fact, the story doesn't even look like it's going to be the same based on the events that happened at the end of the last game. We're really off the rails here.
Oh dear, oh dear. A man of my refined taste running out of butter.
The timeline is completely different.
Yeah, which by the way, I'm not a fan of. I would have rather it just been a remake with better combat, but
Oh man,
I'm looking forward to
I
it.
loved it. I loved the first part of the remake, and I cannot wait to play the second one. And I hope that
Not
they
interested
stay
at
on
all.
schedule. I hope that they stay on schedule and it comes out at the end of 2021.
I think
would
you're dreaming.
be ecstatic.
There's no way that game's coming out in 2021, which is why I don't think it should have made the list.
There's a much bigger threat. I just want to do everything in my power to help all of you and the planet.
Okay, so just like our number 9 should make the list, but I got bullied into putting it on here. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Gonna be an awesome game. I mean,
I
we
think
don't know
it's-
anything about the story.
I think it's going to come out
Yet.
this year.
Well, it is Zelda's, 35th anniversary, so it better come out this year, but it's not officially announced as coming out this year.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon.
It's just more Breath of the Wild. Hopefully it takes a darker tone like Majora's Mask did to Ocarina of Time. We just don't know anything about the game. Hopefully they expand on the systems that they had in the first one. And like I said, I hope for a darker tone.
Yeah, I actually.
And real dungeons. Real dungeons, no shrines, no divine beasts. Give me dungeons.
Do you really think they're going to go with dungeons over shrines? Shrines have been.
I don't, because it's a Switch game and they want short, bite-sized stuff. But I want to see full-blown dungeons. I want to see them tone back the weapon-breaking system that they had in place, because I thought that was lame. Other than that, just give me more Zelda, and I'm happy.
Yeah, the weapon break system was pretty disappointing for me. I never played the first one all that much, but I could definitely see where that game is fun for a lot of people.
Oh, I completed it and got, the Tunic of the Wild and all that stuff. Did all the shrines, everything. I 100%ed it, other than getting all those stupid Korok seeds, but other than that, I mean, it was a solid game. Did all the DLC. Just want more of it, but I want more and better. More story.
Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing.
The first game on our list that's actually coming out this year.
Number 8, The Medium. Xbox exclusive.
And PC. It's coming out on both.
It all starts with a dead girl.
So the medium is a
So we're gonna-
psychological horror.
It's
know,
a single player split screen.
It definitely looks exciting. I watched the trailers and some of the gameplay, and it looks really cool.
And I think
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looks like one is in actual reality and the other one's in almost a purgatory of that reality.
Every story has two sides. A regular, rational one, but also a darker and deeper truth. Not unlike a nightmare. I can see both. Worse, I can live them.
kind of looks like Brothers, if anybody ever played that game where you play as, I mean, you use the two sticks on your controller to control two different people.
You know,
in this game.
I always looked at that game and then never actually played it. It looked
I
really
mean,
interesting,
it's-
and then never actually
It's
made the
okay.
jump. But
I mean, a nice little Xbox Live Arcade title. This, though, is technically you're controlling the same person in different realities. It looks
Yeah.
cool. I'm excited. Yeah, it's got weird vibes to it. I mean, I'm excited for it. I think, Xbox fans, if they bought the Series X or S, we need, exclusive title for us, even though it's on PC, but we need
It's a
some
Games
like,
Pass.
exciting title for us.
I would definitely look forward to playing that one. Coming in at number 7 on our list, Horizon Forbidden West.
It's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I know it's a game that you two don't know as much about.
Is it not coming out for PS4? Is it only PlayStation 5? Is that confirmed?
That's a good call. I think it probably will come out for PS4 as well.
The old ones perished 1,000 years ago. Their great cities turned to graves.
I will be honest, I always wanted to play the first one, and the only reason I didn't was because it was a PlayStation exclusive. It looked amazing, but my wife has the PS4, and I have the Xbox. That's just how it goes.
And new dangers.
It's an open world game. You play as Aloy. It's like a post-apocalyptic world. You're fighting robotic dinosaurs and creatures.
I must find a way to stop it. Or it will get worse and worse.
It's awesome if you never played the first one. I don't know how else to describe it.
Until it destroys us all.
I expect big things from. It'll be a solid game. It'll be a 9 or maybe a 10. The first one was. The first one had to compete with Breath of the Wild, so hopefully this one doesn't have to as well, or we could see a similar situation to what we saw in 2017. So, which leads us into our next one on our list, number 6, Resident Evil 8, or Village, whichever one you want to call it. We don't know much about this one either. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat similar to Resident Evil 7, where it's kind of more open, but not an open world game by any means. So you got a set area you can explore to push through, kind of like a Metroidvania type thing, where you find a key here and you take it back to another location, stuff like that.
And I think this one's just going to be on next-gen consoles and PC.
In life and in death, we give glory. The bell tolls for us all. They're coming again.
Yeah, but one guarantee, luckily for the fans, zombies will be included.
I think they're going to have werewolves and all kinds of stuff. I don't even know if they're going to be zombies or if they're going to play off of. I'm getting like a Resident Evil 4 vibe, which is like the fan favorite, where it's like a Transylvania type deal. So who knows? There might be vampires and all kinds of stuff in this.
It's just a local tale.
Have any of you guys ever played Resident Evils?
I have never played a Resident Evil.
That's a crime.
Now, guys, we're in the top 5 of our list. Back for Blood.
So you fought for this one to be on the list, Conquest. So you tell us why we're excited for this.
I'm a huge Left 4 Dead fan. Turtle Rock Studios have branched out and are making a new game based off of Left 4 Dead.
I definitely.
So it's Left
do
4 Dead
think-
3,
It's the same thing. They
which
said
is the
that
same thing as Left 4 Dead 2, which is the same
The-
thing as Left 4 Dead 1. So why don't we just play the original?
It's
Well,
it's
here's the thing.
it's a
they didn't wanna
spiritual
do it.
successor.
Yeah, spiritual
Well, I think Valve owns
successor.
the rights to Left 4 Dead, which is why
Well, they
had
didn't
to
want to do
change
it.
the name.
They killed it. Yeah, they did that, and there's different branches. Like there's like, what's the company called again? Turtle Rock Studios has like a Philadelphia branch, like East Branch and South Branch. One of the branches have branched off completely just for this because they were passionate enough to make it. But it is a spiritual successor.
Yeah, I only ever played the first Left 4 Dead. I might have played a little bit of the second one.
They weren't very different. Like, they were the same game to me. Honestly, I didn't see much difference in them at all. They were solid,
Boo.
but I don't see, it's a good game. I'll give it that. 7.5 or 8-ish, but it's not something, I don't know why it's endeared as long as it has, if that makes sense.
Endured.
Yes, sorry. Endeared.
English.
Well,
Do you speak it?
I'll play it. I'm just not as excited as most people.
Coming in at number 4 on our list is God of War Ragnarok.
I played the most recent God of War. One of the best follow-up remakes. It's not really a remake, but it's like a reimagining of the game where they redid all the mechanics and everything. Awesome game. We went from Greek mythology to Norse mythology. It is kind of open world as well, but very story-driven. A lot of father-son dynamic. They showed multiple other cultures like gods and like Egyptian and stuff like that. So I'm ready to just bring it all in. I know it's called Ragnarok. Bring all this stuff in. Let him and Loki start going against all the gods at this point.
So God of War is actually one of my wife's favorite franchises, since she's a big PlayStation fan. She will definitely be playing that.
Yeah, so I mean, everything about the God of War franchise has been stellar since the beginning. They've had some weaker stories, but they're always solid games. They're always well developed. It's got a really high bar that I don't know if it's going to be able to live up to, but we shall see.
Side note, our original number 3 was Hogwarts Legacy, but right before we put this video out, they actually delayed that one till 2022.
Okay, and now number 3 on our list, new Pokemon Snap.
Alright, so this one's a big nostalgia one for me. I played the N64 Pokemon Snap, and I never actually owned an N64 until I was older, so when I was younger, this was always like a speed run game for me.
Looking back on it, I don't think I owned Pokemon Snap either. I always rented it. I remember beating it, and as Faman mentioned, it's a puzzle game. You had to do certain things to make certain things spawn at certain times, and then you had to know where to look and capture it. I don't know if this one's going to be an exact replica of that original one, in a sense that we don't have a lot to go off of yet. I'm assuming it's on the rails again.
The trailer and the website make it seem like it's going to be on rails again. It almost has to be. Maybe there's an unlock that you can do once you beat the game, and it lets you roam around the island without rails.
It'll probably be 8 to 10 biomes with set challenges you have to complete in every single one, and then a secret, area. Like the first one had, you spawned in like the galaxy, like a rainbow, and Mew was up there. It was like your last level bonus thing. It's just a fun time. I mean, I don't know if in today's day and age it's worth $60, but am I gonna pay $60 to play it? Yeah.
I wonder if you'll be able to see other users' pictures. I mean, maybe they got a picture of Pokemon that you didn't, and then that'd be a good chance for you to ask your friend, "Hey, how'd you get this?" You know?
Yeah, or like when Mew, like if I get Mew or something, you're like, I'm like, it's in the game. You're like, no way. Where did you see this?
Here's another idea they could do to make it good too. I know they have the wild areas in Sword and Shield, and they rotate what's in there and what's out of there in seasons. What if these areas are updated throughout the seasons, and what is out there is different? Like they rotate stuff. That would really give the game legs.
Yeah, and I guarantee they can do the same thing with hours of the day. You got your day cycle, night cycle Pokemon, dusk and dawn. I mean, these are all things that other games have done before, and even Pokemon has done them.
I think the big takeaway from this is it's gonna be interesting to see how well this sells. I think it's gonna sell well. It's interesting to see how the reviews are gonna be, as well as I think the graphics are gonna be awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about the graphics on this game, and a lot of people were arguing that it was not any better than Sword and Shield.
All right, so we not only are excited for it, I think we actually pitched ideas that will make this game better than it actually is going to be. You're welcome, Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a good game. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice, carefree game that it's a good mix, and I think no matter what, I think it's going to do well. There's going to be people that love it, people that hate it, people that don't know what they expect about Pokemon Snap. It's a nostalgia trip, and I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I will play it. You know what I mean? Now to number 2 on our list, Elden Ring.
Elden Ring falls right within our wheelhouse for Horseman Gaming. I think we all enjoyed the Soul series, so I think it is deserving of at least the number 2 spot.
I have absolutely played every Souls game to 100% completion. And, well, I mean, we still play those games even to this day, even though we've ran through them a million times.
Yeah, and it would be number 1 on our list, I would think, if it wasn't for such high stakes for what is number 1.
From Software, George R.R. Martin. I mean, we don't know if it's even going to be Dark Souls-esque. They kind of keep a constant Soulsborne vibe in all their games, but they could veer off the rails.
Even looking at the trailer, it screams Souls-like. So I don't even think that's going to be an issue. I definitely think it's going to be a Souls-like game.
You definitely, in the trailer, you see a flame. There's obviously multiple different types of enemies and or bosses.
So one of the key things it needs to bring, I think, we want the solid story from like Sekiro, but we want the world building and the weapon and just the flexibility of the classes and the way you can replay the game from Dark Souls.
I believe how they did this was the writer for the Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin, wrote the story, and then they made the game to the story. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah, and if they stick the landing on this, you're looking at a game just like Dark Souls, where people will play over and over the replayability for years and years.
And honestly, I think this game is probably deserving of the number 1 slot on a lot of people's lists.
I argue
it's a
for
big
it.
contender for ours. However, From Software can afford to take a dive on this one and be fine if it's not great. Our number 1 cannot afford to take a dive, but we'll get there.
And before we hit number 1 on our list, there's some honorable mentions that just missed the cut. My personal honorable mention is Scarlet Nexus. This is coming out for all consoles and PC. So Scarlet Nexus is an anime-style RPG. The artwork on that game looks amazing. It looks like some really relaxed fun.
Use the red strings to save the world.
So the honorable mention I'm bringing to the table is Kena Bridge of Spirits. And honestly, we don't know a lot about this game. But from what we do know, I mean, it looks like a playable Pixar movie. It's fantastical. You see some platforming in the trailer and some just, mystical enemies, and she's got a staff that she can use as a bow, and she's got magical powers, and like she changes the environment from like this dead environment to like lush green and creatures running everywhere. Don't know a lot about it. It looks like a good time, and I'm looking forward to playing it later this year.
For my honorable mention, Evil West. There's not too much known about this game, but from the trailer, it looks like to be a game from the Wild West meets Van Helsing.
This one gives off some real Dark Watch vibes from PS2. And coming in at our #1 spot for Horseman Gaming. War. How many times do we have to tell you? I don't care how much you like My Little Pony, it is not making it into our top 10. And now for Horseman Gaming's most anticipated game of 2021. Halo Infinite.
It's a big one. It can't fail.
If it does, this will be the biggest fail from Microsoft.
Did you play Halo 5? Because that was the biggest fail from Microsoft in a long time, in my opinion. Story-wise, multiplayer was okay. It didn't have the legs, but this game cannot fail.
The Mjolnir exosuit is now complete.
Yeah, Microsoft cannot afford to have not just another game to fail, but another Halo franchise game to fail. The big dog of Xbox, with Halo 5 failing,
I must remind myself.
it would be changed from Infinite to death of a franchise.
Liquid crystal cannot rise on its own.
I mean, Master Chief is the face of Xbox. I mean, he's on the back of the Series X box. The fact that he wasn't there for launch was a big enough hit. If they make us wait a year and it doesn't knock it out of the park, I mean, I do worry if it's not amazing, Halo's just done, and that would be devastating.
It all means nothing until you step inside.
I know one of the biggest reasons I'm excited for Halo is the free multiplayer for everybody. I think that will improve Halo's matchmaking so much from past Halos. Just the amount of people in matchmaking will improve the overall experience. I think they will have a lot of opportunity to work with playlists and get creative with that kind of stuff.
But it's not just matchmaking with Halo. That's what separates Halo from, the other shooters. They did such a bad job with Halo 5 story. They not only have to knock out the gameplay, they have to retcon and, fix and rebuild trust that the story for Chief is going to be awesome. You got to bring in, I know, you got Escherum coming in. People want to see him and Atriox go at it. They want to see what's going on with Cortana. They have a tall order on both campaign and multiplayer.
I know the last good story that I played from a Halo game, I think, was Reach. Reach was one of my favorite Halo games. I know it was kind of the black sheep of Halo when it came out, but I thoroughly enjoyed Reach.
I'll fight for Halo 4's campaign. Not the best Halo overall. I do believe Reach and 3 are the big dogs.
I honestly would have been fine with the franchise ending at 3 and then Reach being a spin-off or branch off, a one-off. I think it was kind of stretching it thin to go further, but I am still just as addicted to Halo now as I was then. Don't fail us now, Microsoft.
Yeah,
And that
once-
rounds out our list.
Yeah, really.
But that's just our list. What games are you guys looking forward to in 2021?
And don't forget to click that subscribe button.
And this has been Famine, Conquest, and War from Horseman Gaming. We'll see you guys next time.
Scattered, hunted, defeated by me. I wish I could tell you it was difficult, but it wasn't. We are one step ahead, always. The ring is already under our control. Soon, the auditorium as well. The Harbinger and the Banished share the same goal. We fight together to honor the will of Atriox. But without challenge, I grew weary, lost, alone. Here you now stand. This is my last fight. A true test of legends. Our story will outlive us both. Set a fire in your heart, Spartan. Bare your fangs. Fight hard. Die well.
Okay. I'm going to say that's a wrap.